All right, Trae Young gets dealt to the Washington Wizards. We all kind of knew that this was rumored to be happening. The final deal, is literally just Trae Young for CJ and Corey Kispert. I didn't think the Wizards were going to be giving up an Alex Sarr, a Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson, anything like that, of course. But I was kind of surprised there's not at least a pick in it, not one, not like a really protected pick or a like something like that. No, not even a second. Trae Young has been the face of a franchise since 2018, bro. And granted, Jalen Johnson's kind of emerged this season, and you could probably even say last season too. Um, but he's dealt. I mean, he's dealt. He was the fifth overall pick in the 2018 draft. He is averaging. You think I'd have this up, but this literally just happened. Trae Young is averaging 19 and 9 in only 10 games this season. Now he is a very turnover prone guard. He is a very small guard, but he is the offensive engine to a team. Um, and even though you can't defend, which is kind of why nobody really wants him, and he's also on a contract year, right? I would assume because Washington is absolutely not a better place to be than the Hawks, but he can kind of get his money. Um, he can kind of get his money in Washington, can kind of be the guy in another place that doesn't really have a guy yet. They're I don't know. Like the Hawks obviously are kind of have moved past the Trae Young identity and stuff to where like they, again with Jalen Johnson being as good, they kind of have Dyson Daniels who can be a guard. Nikhil Alexander Walker's been phenomenal this season. They got Porzingis for nothing. They got some young guys like Asa Newell on the bench and things like that. And honestly, adding CJ McCollum, who can be a guard to come off the bench, won't be bad. I tweeted earlier today, CJ McCollum hasn't missed a game all season. Mysteriously, he misses a game, and Corey Kispert wasn't playing, and Trae Young isn't playing, and I kind of knew. I kind of knew we got to figure that this was happening. I tweeted it. I don't even know what it was. It was literally 2 hours ago. I said no CJ, Kispert, or Trae Young tonight. Interesting. Now, I didn't think that was going to be the only thing. I didn't think again that the Washington was going to give up everything and give up, current players that are, they believe in. But the Wizards, it seems like at some point, I'm not saying this year, I'm not saying next year, I'm not saying in 2 years, but it seems like the Wizards at some point they have all these young talent between like the third to or well, I guess the second to like 10th overall picks and guys like Trey Johnson, Alex Sarr. I think Bub was outside the top 10. Bilal Coulibaly, Keyshawn George, who might have been like late first round. Like at some point, they might kind of go towards an Atlanta Hawks-ish avenue to where like they've got a lot of young guys, the Atlanta Hawks are different because not all like Porzingis, Dyson Daniels aren't their own players that they drafted. They're kind of some players that they have acquired, but like Okongwu's theirs, Jalen Johnson's theirs, Reese O'Shea's theirs. And I'm sure that there are other people that I'm just not thinking about right now, but I don't know. I think I think the Hawks are fine. They've kind of figured out how to do the without Trae Young minutes anyways. Yeah, I mean they have people that can shoot the ball like Nikhil, like Luke Kennard. Dyson can get hot at any night. Jalen could get hot any night. Reese O'Shea, he's getting there. Okongwu can get hot too. But I mean, they kind of get a guy like Corey Kispert who can play for them, who hasn't been playing too crazy in Washington. And then CJ, who can be another good vet guy that, I mean, should help, with especially some of that bench scoring, assuming that he wouldn't start. Because I would assume they would do Dyson, Nikhil, Reese O'Shea, Jalen, and Porzingis / Okongwu. Now, if at some point they are willing to deal Reese O'Shea in like an Anthony Davis trade, which has been rumored, I don't know if that's out the table now that you dealt Trae Young. I would assume it's still a possibility, but I don't think what they got was horrible. I think it helps. I think that's more of a deal that you do when you think you're like a top 3 seed and you really think you're going for it. You're trading the star guy who you don't really need for 2 guys that can be rotational guys, kind of, and just buy into the depth part of this team. I really think that's kind of what they were doing. And if we're being honest, I think if Trae Young asked to go to Washington, Trae Young's one of those guys for the Hawks that the Hawks are probably going to give him what he wants, even if it's not the best for their team. And then let's talk about the Washington Wizards side of it, where how do I get to the roster? Hold on, sorry. So the Washington Wizards have players, Bub Carrington, Trae Johnson, Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr, Bilal, Cam Whitmore. They still have Chris Middleton as of today. They have AJ Johnson. They've got Will Riley, Bagley, the Champagny brother. So I think giving Washington like a guy, because let's be fair, Washington is not like a hotspot free agency destination place. It's good for them to get someone like this. Now, does that stunt the growth of like Bub? Maybe. Trae Johnson? Maybe. I think it'll absolutely help a guy like Alex Sarr, who I also tweeted very shortly after I did the Trae Young and CJ thing. I said early 2027 most improved player at about 6:45 Eastern Standard Time. He is going to help Alex Sarr tremendously. Tremendously. I think it is going to be perfect to give him a guy like that who is, Trae Young can get an assist out of almost anybody in the league. He's one of those guys. Now, thankfully, the Wizards aren't playing for too much, as they only have, they're 10-25. They're 14th in the East. They are, I don't even know what this necessarily means. What does this mean? SRS, simple point differential in the string. Okay. The Wizards, they're not going to be great, right? Like their offensive rating is 27th, dead last, or not dead last, bottom 5. Defensive rating is 29th out of 30, bottom 2 in the league. Net rating, 29th out of 30. They're not going to be hot. They're not going to be great. They're supposed to have they're supposed to have the second least wins in the entire league, according to Basketball Reference. But just giving the Wizards a guy that can help, and maybe at some point when you guys really think you can make that play in to playoff push, maybe Trae Young can be the head of that. We've seen him. It's been some time since that conference final stuff, but Trae Young has gotten his team into the play-in a lot recently. So Trae Young, it'll raise your floor. Will it raise your ceiling too much? Again, I don't think that's anything that Washington is going to be thinking about today. As they're going to have probably a top 5 pick, even with Trae Young this season, because who knows when Trae Young will play his first game. If he's actually hurt still or not, who knows? Or maybe it was just a thing kind of saying, hey, we know this trade's going down today. Who knows? But I think it helps. I think it's a decent trade for both sides. Again, the Wizards literally got a guy that all-star, all-NBA type player when healthy for CJ McCollum, who I believe is expiring, and Corey Kispert, who they haven't really cared about this season. And for Atlanta, while you can say, yeah, they didn't get a lot for a franchise guy who's been a 4-time All-Star and has been, I'm sure, let me see exactly what he's done in his career. He is a 4-time All-Star, assist champ from last year, and 1-time All-NBA. You could say that they didn't get a lot, which I understand, but in a way, I guess they didn't need a ton, sort of. I don't know. The Hawks haven't looked hot. They're still 10th in the East, so they could have used something a little bit more promising. But the thing is, they have the Pelicans pick, right? They have the Pelicans pick, so maybe they don't care too much about picks. They just want players who can contribute, and maybe that's what they thought CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert could do for them. And then, McCollum, I believe, again, will be off his money this year. Maybe they can restructure it to be less. Who knows? I don't think it's too terrible, though. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Leave any comments below.